Did you know that in Jackal Squad, the mobile shoot 'em up, during the 8th mission, you can find this? So this dog, who helpfully scared away a group of ducks, is the same dog from the classic NES game, Duck Hunt. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Video Game Easter Eggs, the series where we cover some of the best Easter eggs found in video games. As always, if you think you know of a video game Easter egg that I'm yet to cover, then let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to check it out. Anyway, without further delay, let's get started. Right, let's begin with an Easter egg from a game that is well over 10 years old. The Halo games have always had some really strange Easter eggs. I mean, who could forget the strange monkey family that could be found in the Halo 3 campaign? Well, it seems that the campaign isn't the only place to find these strange Easter eggs. On the standoff map, you can find this. So this lonely looking chap is Travis Brady, a 3D artist who worked on Halo 2 and Halo 3. To be honest, I'm not going to be harsh on myself for not noticing this one before. Travis is pretty well hidden. Up next is a game that a lot of you may have never heard of. Brazilian Route is a first-person shooter set in Brazil. I mean, the clue's in the name. The game was worked on by a very small team, and as such, isn't exactly the most polished game you'll ever play. Still, even though it's extremely rough around the edges, I did have fun with it. Just don't go in expecting too much and you'll be fine. Anyway, hidden in the favelas and jungles of Brazil are a couple of Easter eggs. One of them is really small and one of them is really, really big. During the game's first level, you can find this. So this giant golden gnome is surprisingly easy to miss, which is something that I never thought I'd say about a giant golden gnome. The other Easter egg that I found in Brazilian Route can be found in the game's third level. Underneath the waterfall, you can find this. So this mask, of course, belongs to Jason Voorhees of Friday the 13th fame. It's funny because Jason's mask has been popping up a lot in games recently, and each time it does seem to be found in water, which given Jason's history with water is pretty fitting. Next up is a trip back to Yara in Far Cry 6. Like previous games in the series, Far Cry 6 was full of Easter eggs, but in a game as big as this, there was always going to be one or two Easter eggs that slipped through the net. Today's Far Cry 6 Easter egg can be found when on the Maceo Special Operation, given to you by Lola. As you near your objective, you can find this. So luckily for me, this alligator is inflatable. If you didn't know, my biggest fear is crocodiles and alligators, even though I live in the UK and the likelihood of encountering one is next to zero. Still, this is probably a reference to the urban legend of crocodiles or alligators living in sewers. Okay, let me ask you a question. Have you heard of a game called My Name Is Mayo 3? You'd be forgiven if you haven't, it's hardly a AAA blockbuster. So what is My Name Is Mayo? Well, you click a jar of mayonnaise. A lot. Really, that's it. It got to a point where I tapped the jar of mayo so many times that I had to call in Freddy to take over. It was a real family effort. Anyway, after clicking the jar well over 7,000 times, you are then tasked with walking a really long distance while playing as the mayonnaise. And it's during this walk you can find something out of this world. So this glowing green alien is the same alien seen in The Simpsons. Of course, in the show, it was discovered that the alien wasn't an alien, but in fact Mr. Burns, who was suffering the side effects of the various medical treatments he received in an attempt to live longer. Next up is the really quite fun Sniper Elite 5. Releasing last week, Sniper Elite 5 is more of the same from the testicle bursting shooter. I haven't really spent that much time with the game if I'm honest. I have a weird thing where if I'm seen during a mission, I have to reload my last checkpoint, so it takes hours to actually finish just one level. However, I have managed to find a reference to one of my favourite action movies of all time. If you throw a certain German soldier off a cliff, Carl will say this.
Happy trails, Hans.
So Carl saying "Happy Trails, Hans" is a reference to this scene from Die Hard 1.
Happy trails, Hans.
Hopefully the more time I spend with Sniper Elite 5, the more things I can find. And as always, if you know of anything that you think is worth checking out, let me know in the comments. Now, if I told you there was a game where you didn't embark on an epic adventure to save the world, but instead embarked on an epic adventure to have a good cleanup, then you'd think I was talking rubbish. Pun intended. Well, that's exactly what VISCERA Cleanup Detail is. Sure, since its release in 2015, there have been other games that let you clean things. One that I really want to try is Power Wash Simulator, but VISCERA was the original clean 'em up. When cleaning the bathrooms of the revolutionary robotics level, you can find a strange case in one of the toilets. If we take a closer look at the case, we can find a red pill and a blue pill. This is of course a reference to this famous scene from The Matrix.
You take the blue pill, the story ends. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Right, to end today's video, let's take another look at Internet Cafe Simulator 2. In episode 65 of this series, we found family man Vin Diesel wandering the streets of, well, wherever this game takes place. Alongside Mr. Diesel were cameos from a green Donald Trump, a Teletubby, and various other recognisable faces. But today's Easter egg is missing its face. In the strange streets of Internet Cafe Sim 2, you can find this.
Amogus.
So I don't really need to explain this one, do I? The sound that played when I reported the body did that job for me. But just in case you didn't know, this is half of one of the crewmates from Among Us. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, then leaving a like is really appreciated. If you are a fan of Easter eggs and secrets in video games, then perhaps consider subscribing, as that's what this channel is all about. A big thank you all for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.